Greetings and salutations, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the Sync 2 to Sync 3 upgrade for the Ford, specifically for the F-150s, and even most helpful for the 2015 F-150s. Before I dive into that, I got to mention a couple little things that I found that helped with the truck. One, really cheap valve stems. These were like $2 on Amazon. Every once in a while the valve stems would go missing. And also, there was something that was not working on the truck on the back here by the light. Whenever those taillights were stolen, it was click-clacking around because there was a grommet missing by the pin there. And so I found that grommet. I will link it down below. That just keeps it solid and not click-clacking around. And now it's been solid ever since then. All right, so welcome to the office, and here we're going to dive into all the specifics of the Sync 2 to Sync 3 upgrade for the Fords. I've done this 3 times now with friends. My truck's the 17, so it already came with the Sync 3, but first off, my buddy Daniel, he has a 2015 F-150 with the EcoBoost, and his was the very cheapest and the most simple we've ever done it. I'll go over that in a second. Then secondly, did it for my brother's truck, also a 15, his with a Coyote in it. His was middle of the road, and then third one was for a friend that also had a 15, and he did it about the middle of the road option as well for the cost on that. So here's the 3 options that I've found for how to do this. One is you buy parts from a junkyard, and you can either search online or you can call around. There's several different websites. I'll put them in the description, but there's carpart.com, there's LKQ, there's Auto Parts Search, and then I've always done, when I was growing up, like pick and pull and stuff. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but you could always do that too. Find the part at the junkyard and then go from there. Second option would be order the parts online, either eBay or whatever it is that you want to use. And then the third option would be just to buy the entire kit. There's several people that sell it online that have the whole thing all together. That's the most expensive, but it's also least hassle because then you just get it shipped to your door and you're done after that. All right, so for my buddy Daniel's truck, which was the cheapest and easiest one we've ever done, we went to a junkyard. This was in San Antonio. There's a whole bunch of different junkyards there. Searched it on the carpart.com website. I'll show you how we did that. Went there, found the part. It was brand new in a sealed container. I don't know if they just had it on a shelf or if they put it all together, but that's what they had. It looked perfect. We spent $100 on the part, and that was the screen and the APIM on the back of it together. And then he bought the hub adapter, which he didn't actually use, and then we went and installed it. On his truck, I wish I was a better YouTuber and had all the footage of the stuff, but there's content on there from other creators on how to pull this out, put the new one in, all that stuff. So I'm just gonna tell you how we did it and the prices that we paid. We put the screen into his truck, and he's an Android person, and so you can use the Android with the same hub that's in the truck. If you want to do CarPlay, you need to put this other hub in, which I'll show you the link for that. You have to adapt it to the newer hubs that are in the truck, the USB hub that your CarPlay plugs into that does the whole thing. That has to be done for iPhone. If you have an Android, you can just plug into the current one. All you need is the newer screen, the APIM, which is all he bought from the junkyard, popped it in, boom, done. His did have some glitches because it has that USB port missing, so it'll pull that up on the sync screen, but once it logs into CarPlay, you don't see any glitches anymore. You could always put in the USB hub and it would get rid of that glitch, but he wanted to go with the cheapest option, and so $100, done, Android Auto, that's the whole thing for his truck. That was the first time we did it. All right, so the second time that we did this was me doing it for my brother for his birthday, and he has a 2015 F-150 with a Coyote in it, and I actually didn't do from the junkyard, and I'll tell you why. I found the parts and thought I had it figured out. They pulled it at the junkyard, but they only pulled the screen. They removed the APIM from the back. I'll show you on the pictures here in a little bit, but you have to have both. You have to have the screen and the module on the back, which is called the APIM that controls it. If they don't pull both of those with the connecting cord on them, it won't work. So I went up there, drove to the junkyard, thought I had it. It was the right screen, but didn't have the APIM on the back of it. So it was getting close to his birthday. I was like, screw it, let's just pay them more money. And I ordered it from eBay. It was actually from a guy in Canada, but it was the screen and the APIM and the cord you need to connect it all together. And it worked. It was great. Showed up, sent it to his house. He popped it in. He's an iPhone person, and so we had to use the USB module as well, which I'll show you here in a second. And then the little adapter cord, and then his was all good to go. The thing to make note of is if you pull the APIM from a truck that has a different trim model, then you'll have to adjust that in Forscan because the truck will have different settings in the sync. For example, the heated seats and the cooled seats will not be in an XLT previously coded APIM. And if you put it into your truck that has a Lariat or a Platinum, whatever it is, you'll have to recode that. So just keep in mind those things in the sync part of it will be different. If all you care about is the CarPlay, it wouldn't even matter if you can ignore the error codes and stuff on the sync. Go for it. I think it's better to still code it out and stuff, but you could just do the CarPlay, which would be just putting it in, wouldn't have to code it, you'd be done. All right, so here's the website that we use to find the Junkyard, the specific part at the Junkyard. There's some specific things you got to put in there. It's a little bit confusing to use, but there you go. It's what we searched. It goes to this next that has all these different options. That one's the one that I clicked. I think it's kind of a broad parameter. It finds things that are similar to it as well, but for the first time using it, that was very confusing. Look for different trucks that actually fit. Good price on that one there. Has a grade A part. 2017 truck, and then it shows locations and everything. There's a phone number for where to call. Once you click on it, you can see all the images. Definitely a wrecked truck, but then here you can see, hey, that's actually Sync 3. All right, so then as mentioned, in addition to the screen and the APIM, you need to get one of these hubs like this if you want to do an iPhone for the CarPlay. There's two different sizes. There's this smaller one here, and there's also this larger one here. You have to look in your truck and see which one will fit better. They do not fit perfectly though. There's a trim needed. There's also this cable or something similar to this that you'll need in order to make it work properly. There's lots of different options, but something like that. And here's an example of the trim. I'll show you a picture from my brother's truck. We couldn't find the one that would fit specifically perfect, but something like this. Here's a picture of my brother's truck. Whenever he put that hub in there, you'll see it does go in place, but there's just some gaps on the side and it didn't fit perfectly. But it does work, it does function. It gives you the Apple CarPlay, using your iPhone. Here's an example of another trim piece. He tried doing this one, said it didn't fit perfectly. And then here's another picture from the other truck, the friend that put it in. He also did the iPhone Apple CarPlay, and he didn't even get the trim piece. He just threw it in there. You can see it's in that little drawer. If you wanted to, you could just close the drawer, put a wireless CarPlay in there. You wouldn't even know it's a thing, but that's up to you. Okay, here's where the fun begins. This is a spreadsheet that somebody made, and I will link this down below. All credit to that person. This is the ways that you can modify the Ford Sync system. If you needed to recode it to a different trim, this is how you would do it. So that first section there is the rear climate. You'd have to be able to add that in. That would give you the heated, cooled seats. This next one here, it is the navigation stuff. So there's a GPS antenna that you could add if you wanted to go to a higher trim level from an XLT to a Lariat or a Platinum. That's how you would do it. Probably just have to mess around with those and see which one works properly. My brother did add that in, and he liked it because he wanted to have all the capabilities with it. The last section here is just for funsies. It is the boot screen that you can see whenever you turn on the truck. There's a whole bunch of different options there, from the Lincoln stuff, the Raptor, Mustang, Shelby, whatever you want it to boot up with. It's all in the system. You just have to recode it there. You just have to have the Forscan tool to do that. And then here you'll see a picture. Here's the Raptor screen. That's just coding it in there, and then whenever you cycle it, it'll key on with this. Next one is the Lincoln Presidential. And then you'll see on this next screen, this is the error code that it'll give you if you do not have the correct updated USB hub for the Sync 3. And then here is a picture of my brother doing all the coding with Forscan to be able to get it to work properly. All right, so here's option 2 if you're gonna do it buying online. get it ordered to your house, that's what you would search. I'll put the info for this in the description, but you'd search that, try to find one that has a good price. These are definitely going up in cost. I think people are realizing what they're for, and so they're starting to jack the prices up. Whenever you are looking for these, you want to make sure that you have not only the screen, but also the APIM. That's what it looks like. You need to have that cord on the side there that connects from the screen to the APIM. Once you have all those things, that is the hardware needed to make this happen. And then if you needed to, you could always code things to make it work properly for trim. This is another spreadsheet that will also link that has a lot of the part numbers for the different models of Ford vehicles for the APIMs and the screens. So if you don't have an F-150 and you want to use the same process for a different vehicle, this is all the different part numbers you would need to search if you were on eBay or even trying to find this at a parts yard. There you go. That's the whole list of everything. That's what it looks like. Shows you if it's navigation or non-navigation. And then I will put this in the description so you can use this as well for yourself. Alright, so I'm going to start wrapping up this video, but I have to at least touch on the third option, which would be you can buy the whole kit online from somebody that sells it. They range from $300 to $700, something like that. I've seen a new one show up, which I believe is on Amazon. I've not tried it before, I've not really seen any reviews, but it seems like it's a possibility. But if you want to do it yourself, there's all these ways that I'm showing you. I just want to make this video to try to help other people because there's a way to do it for cheap. You know, the very cheapest way would be to go find one at the junkyard, and it could be as low as $100. It could be a little bit more, it just depends on what you find. You might have to look around for a while and find the right deals, but it's possible to do it for cheap. I did it. It worked on my buddy's truck. That has been fantastic. It hasn't been any issues for him at all. If you do get your part from a junkyard, I highly recommend calling them before you go. Don't waste the drive and the gas and everything, and trying to confirm, hey, does it have the screen and the APIM on there? Because if you don't have both of them, it won't work, and they might make it sound like on the online listing that both will be there, but it's not worth the money to do just the one. You go find the other one afterwards. I don't know, it's all about trying to find the right deal here. So just call and confirm, make sure you got the right thing there, and then get your other supporting parts and make it happen. The other thing I want to just make sure that I clarify is that the trim levels, they matter for the sync side of things, but not for the CarPlay side of things. So if your truck is a Platinum and you pulled the screen from an XLT, that screen is going to be coded for XLT. So you would have to use Forscan to be able to change the coding to make it have the things for a Platinum. It would still work, it would still have CarPlay, you just have to do the one extra step. You need to also get the Forscan adapter tool that would go to the OB2 port. And that's another extra cost as well, but it is possible to do that as well. Alright, and then last but not least, I want to summarize the prices of what I paid for doing these, or not me, but the friends who paid. The very first one was the Android truck, so that was only the $100 or so for the screen and the APIM. That one was done. For my brother's truck, that was $195 for the screen and the APIM on eBay. The USB hub for $73 on Amazon. And then the adapter for that hub, $10 on Amazon, for an altogether price of $278. That was for my brother's truck. That one was put in about a year ago, and it's been great ever since. He hasn't had any issues with it. He did also get the GPS antenna because he wanted to have that in there, and then recoded it to make sure it was all good. And he played with some of the screens and stuff too, the boot up screens, the Lincoln and everything. But $278, not too bad for the CarPlay upgrade. The other person that did it did something similar as well with the buying it online and getting it sent in. So I fully understand the spectrum. Some things are easier to do just ordering it, but if you really, really want to pinch pennies, go to the junkyard, find the parts, go from there, then you're done. I really hope this helps somebody. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'll try my best to help out. I really appreciate you watching the video. Thanks and have a great day.